Well, for this particular path, we are on our way home. And I say that because we're going to do chapters 8 and 9 in this presentation, and then that's it. And hopefully you have the skills then to be able to do this policy that I mentioned earlier. All right, chapter 8 then is on cost efficiency evaluations. The fifth and the final step in the evaluation hierarchy involves cost efficiency evaluation. Efficiency stands as perhaps the central guiding mandate of government. The aim is to provide services and to achieve goals at the least cost, and more generally to provide the maximum benefit to society. So that's going to be cost efficiency. How do we get a policy, and how do we put it into effect and get done what we want to do? That goes back to the outcome. Efficiency evaluation can consist either of cost effectiveness analysis or cost benefit analysis. Cost effectiveness analysis identify the cost per outcome. They are useful when comparing policies that target the same outcome. Now, you'll probably want to think a little bit about this so that you don't get these confused. Cost effectiveness and then cost benefit. Cost benefit analysis, sometimes referred to as benefit cost analysis, identify in monetary terms policy costs and benefits. They are useful when comparing policies that target different outcomes. Notice one was the same outcomes, one was different outcomes, so keep that in mind. Mears outlined in this chapter 6 steps involved in a cost-benefit analysis. You want to make sure that you digest this area and consider how important these steps are in determining the success of a policy. Number 1, he says, and he talks about state the policy question. What is it that the policy is actually supposed to deal with? Number 2, identify the perspective of analysis. Number 3, identify cost and benefits. Number 4, assign values. Number 5, compare cost versus benefit of one or more policies. Number 6, assess sensitivity and articulate limitations. Now again, he elaborates pretty much on all 6 of those, so it's not as fast as I just went through. I just gave you the titles, but he has several pages on that, as you're probably already reading and you know. As Mears brings this chapter to a close, you see this is rather quick there, he answers this question. He says, why are cost efficiency evaluations important? And he gives you an answer on page 225. I think his answer is in keeping with the entire book. And what he says and wants us to understand is that the importance of policies and yet the need for them is to satisfy their intended goals. Mears elaborate on the following as he answers why cost efficiency evaluations are important. And we go again. Number 1, they provide a general sensitivity function similar to that of needs and theory evaluation. Now, you remember those early on. Those are some parts of the hierarchy by clarifying a policy goal. Number 2, they provide guidance about how likely it is that a given policy or a set of policies will produce substantial return. 3, ex post efficiency evaluations provide critical information for deciding whether to continue, expand, or terminate a policy. Now, you know that ex post means afterwards. So, again, you want to make sure that, well, is this policy working, and do we continue with it, or do we scrap it and just start out on something else? Number 4, cost efficiency evaluations force us to be explicit about the range of goals that inform our judgment about policy worth. Number 5, in some cases, he says, efficiency evaluations can be used to monitor performance. So those are the 5, and again, he will elaborate on those very much so. Mears concludes this chapter by stating that few efficiency evaluations occur in criminal justice. Got to say that right, criminal justice. In part because economic analysis is not featured prominently, or is not featured prominently in training or criminal justice scholars. Okay, well, that's chapter 8, and the last chapter is chapter 9, and then we're done with this setting. Of course, now you still got to do your work, and you've got to develop a policy. I hope you have fun with that. I am looking forward to reading that from each one of you. Let's see, chapter 9 then is the conclusion. Mears concludes his book with a slight review and restatement of several goals. Then he introduces several strategies for increasing and improving evaluation research. From page 238 to page 240, Mears elaborate one or more times on goals he identified initially in chapter 1. Number one, for instance, says or deals with, describe what an evaluation research approach is and how can it be used to inform criminal justice policy, including various laws, programs, rules, protocols, and practices that make up the criminal justice system. Number two, argue that many of the most prominent policies on the criminal justice landscape rest on an unstable or weak research foundation. Number three, argue that evaluation research should be increased, improved, and integrated into criminal justice policy making and practice. So again, those are the arguments, those are the goals that he says that we need to really focus on. In order to be as helpful and resourceful as possible, Mears conclude with offering these strategies for increasing and improving evaluation research foundation, or also providing information that would help us as we move through our own assignment. He says this, okay, number one, educate and train students and researchers in evaluation research. Again, he said that throughout the book that we don't do enough of that. We're not doing enough evaluation research. 2, promote applied research in university settings. 3, integrate applied and basic research efforts. 4, create ties among researchers, policymakers, and practitioners communities. So in other words, getting those people together. Now, in fact, if some of you don't know, there is an organization called the Academy of Criminal Justice Sciences, and you do have the researchers, the policymakers, and the practitioners who do come together annually once a year. Number 5, he says, require use of the evaluation hierarchy in developing and assessing policy. And we're going to practice that in this course. Number 6, institutionalize evaluation research into criminal justice system operations. Number 7, create independent criminal justice research agencies. Number 8, develop a bank of knowledge about effective and ineffective policies. So again, he will elaborate on all of those as he moves through that last chapter. Mears ends the chapter by saying, an effective criminal justice system must ensure that all efforts are systematically integrated and coordinated with one another to increase system accountability. Now, you notice he stressed that accountability throughout the chapters, throughout the entire book, really. Effectiveness and efficiency. He further states that evaluation research is no substitute for a deliberate and careful policy-making process. He says that on page 258. And that's the end of the chapter. And that's the end of the book. So if you've not gotten all that read yet, then you still got your work cut out.